The saddest truth about the majority of us living in the third world country is that we'll never get to know what it feels like to be in the middle class, leave alone being in the upper class. And by that, I mean being able to afford private education for your children because the public education system has failed us. By that, I mean being able to access private healthcare, being able to afford it, get a private insurance because the public healthcare has failed us. By that, I mean being able to spend more than 45,000 shillings, just spending alone between 45,000 shillings and 185,000 shillings. That is what it takes one to be in the middle class here in Kenya. But when you read the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, he talks of how the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. And money can help us achieve that. In that same chapter, he talks of a guy called Angus Campbell. Angus Campbell is a psychologist and he was born in 1910. Now, back to our initial premise that a majority of us in the third world country will never know what it feels like to be wealthy, to be part of the middle class, right? But think about it. There are certain habits that will definitely, surely, almost absolutely stop us from rising, climbing that ladder. Think about some of the habits that you do daily, some of the small mistakes that you do on a daily basis that compound. Number one, not saving. Majority of us don't save money, and that's me 1 year ago. So one of my age groups, she had actually saved up 50K in her account, and she actually told me, like, the year is ending because it was actually Christmas time. She was like, the year is ending, I have some 50K somewhere in a chama. And then I thought to myself, I don't have anything. Like, every time you get an income, you spend it. You don't set aside, you don't pay yourself first. That's when it hit me. Like, I don't want to be in the same situation. I don't want to be the same person this year. And so I started saving. And that narrative, the narrative that I had, is actually common amongst many people, even here in Kenya. Like, when you ask people why they don't save, like, deep down, the first thing that's going to come up is that they are not able. It's beyond them. But if you're not earning any income, it's true. If you're not earning any income, it's true you're not able. What are you going to save? But if you're earning an income, no matter how much it is, even if it's 100 shillings, if you set up your mind to save something, to set a portion, to save 10 shillings out of 100 shillings, that's saving. So you don't have to be rich to start saving. You don't have to be part of the middle class. You don't have to be part of the upper class to start saving. You can save even if you're on the lower class. But then now the other thing is that you save money and you touch it. Like, you saved up money, at the end of the month, you're back to that account withdrawing the amount. And that begs the question, why are you doing that? It's because you don't have a goal for saving. Think about it. If you had told yourself that you are going to have a goal, and the goal is to have 60,000 by the end of the year, so you have 12 months to save 60,000. That means you're going to be saving, or you must save at least 5K every month, so that at the end of the year you'll have 60K. And the main goal of that 60K is to start a salon, to start a barber shop, to start a butchery, to start a farming business, something like that. If you have a goal, that goal will be strong enough to stop you from touching that money. That actually made me think about what usually happens in our New Year resolutions. Like, every year we come up with some resolutions that we plan to achieve throughout the year. So let saving be part of that resolution. This is 2023. In 2024, make saving a part of your 2024 resolution, and make saving something that you think of every single day. That made me think of school fees. Let's think about it. Like, we talked of how the people in the middle class can afford to take their children to private schools. And when you analyze some of their habits, how are they able to plan for something that they can afford, like private education for their kids? Majority of these parents here in Kenya, and some that I saw from one of the TikToks that I had posted, is that I gave a story of a lady friend of mine who usually plans for her children's school fees 3 months prior to them opening their school, or even if it's a school time, like she has saved up money in January, February, March for April's term. So that's how she's able to plan for her kids, and her kids are in private school. Of course, she's in the middle class, but you can see that some of these habits that the middle class or the upper class have is that they plan, you know, they save, they can save for their children's education, they save for their business. Have a goal in mind. No matter how small you earn, have a goal. Then the other thing about saving is that it will help you in terms of having an emergency. Think about what the psychologist Enga Campbell, or Angus, his name is Angus, came up with, is that what makes one happy is the ability to control time, the ability to have control over their life. And if you are able to plan for an uncertainty, like an emergency, something that you don't know but it's going to happen, it's something unforeseeable, if you're able to set aside money, if such a scenario happens, if such a situation comes by, you will be able to have control over that. Think about it. You've been saving up money and you suddenly fall ill, or you suddenly lose your job. Let's make that more realistic. And you have money saved up that can take you through 3 months, 4 months. At that particular time, at that particular situation, you're going to have control over the situation. That's what makes people happy. Of course, happiness is subjective, but at least that is what can be part of what happiness is about. Having control over that, and money can actually do that. Saving money can actually do that. The second habit that's definitely holding you back, especially if you're in the third world country or whichever class that you're in, is that sometimes you give in to peer pressure. You want to show off. You see that some of your age groups are doing well. They own a mansion, but there you are, you don't own anything. You live in a small apartment. You don't own a car, and even if you own one, it's one of those, not nice ones. Then you see your friend in Instagram, flashing, living this nice life, and you decide to take on mortgage to buy a mansion, and you're going to be paying off that mortgage for the next 20 years. It's a liability to you, and you've made the decision out of peer pressure, out of wanting to show off. That's one of the big examples. One of the small examples is like trying to buy trendy clothes, trying to buy, these high-end labeled clothes, and you're in campus and you want to fit in, you want to be part of the group, but then your pockets don't allow you to do that. Well, there are people who can afford to do that, but you can't. And you're stressing, you're straining yourself financially. That will definitely make you unhappy financial wise, because you're straining yourself. You want to fit in, you want to be part of the group. Understand who you are, understand your financial situation, and this thing about living below your means, it's a good thing. The third mistake that I think is definitely going to make you unhappy financial wise is consuming your debt, taking on loans. I mean, if you are in a vicious cycle of debt, this actually reminds me of a story that I had seen on the telly about this entrepreneur whose business is based on manufacturing paper, like the paper that you used for printers, the paper that is used to make envelopes. And so initially she had used her own capital to start the business. But because of the demand, her business told her she needs to grow. She didn't have the capital to start all that. And that's when she decided to take a loan from a bank. Actually, her business grew out of the loans. She actually talks exactly on the interview. She talks of how she borrows 30 million. Then out of the 30 million, she makes 42 million, then pays back the 30 million, then earns a profit of 12 million. And she doesn't see anything wrong with that. Actually, her premise was that if you can use other people's money to make more money and pay off that money, what's the issue with that? That's a very smart entrepreneur. But for us, for some of us who have that mentality of taking a loan, then eating it up, taking a loan, for something that's not an investment, it can be very bad for you. So debts can be good, debts can be bad. Don't consume your loans. Ask yourself, why is it that in the middle of the month you don't have money and you're taking a loan to sustain you for the remaining 2 weeks of the month? What did you do with the money? Ask yourself that. Then the other thing is learning new skills. Of course, the world is changing, and so you need to upgrade your skills. That's if you're in the tech industry, or is there a way that you can use your money to have skills that can help you build a business, that can help you go out on your own and earn an extra income? If it's carpentry, if it's sewing, if you have to teach yourself how to make films, design clothes. I mean, invest your money in learning new skills, because these new skills are going to help you make more money. They're going to help you be part of what we talked about, that you are able to have control over your time, over your life, because you can earn an extra income that's going to allow you to take a vacation. As a parting shot, it's actually true that for majority of us in the third world countries, will never be rich. Some of us might never be Bill Gates. Some of us might never be Mark Zuckerberg. Some of us will never be that rich. But there are certain things that we can actually do that can help us elevate our financial situation. There are certain things that can make us happy financial wise. So don't eat up your loans, learn to budget, set goals for your savings so that you don't have to touch your money at the end of the month. Learn a new skill that can help you increase your income. And remember, the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today.